and eventually people will join us. And at the moment, I'm just being glad that unlike last night, tonight, or this evening, this afternoon,
This good afternoon here in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah,
here we are.
This time we can see ourselves on the camera / phone.
Since there's nobody here.
Because last night when we were trying to talk to everybody, we ended up having our phone screen go totally black and we couldn't see ourselves. We didn't know what we were showing people. It was a little bit of a nightmare. Anyway, we've got a few things that we'll go ahead and talk about. It'll be a easy for me to say. It'll be a multi-topic discussion, interactive, talk with whoever happens to show up on here, and letting you know. Yeah, I see that somebody popped in and left.
Wow, there's 4 people already.
Oh,
okay, do we have any moderators in here today?
Because we do need our troll hunters.
We need some troll hunters in here tonight.
It appear that for some reason our channel attracts a whole lot of trolls. And
we are going to talk a little bit about Suzanne Morphew.
Yeah, of course we're going to talk about Suzanne. But we've also got a few other things that we'll discuss, especially a couple things that, well, I didn't think that they were particularly divisive topics. It turned out that they really were during our other live, or one of our other lives. And that was pretty, I don't know if it's enlightening or just plain crazy to me that this turned out. Oh, a little squirrel went by.
Squirrel.
Sorry. Squirrel!
Never heard that. So we're going to talk about... Go ahead, Jewel.
And,
start her off.
And I don't know if you can hear it, but there's this awesome pitter-patter of rain outside the car. And so we're on here a little bit earlier than we ordinarily would be, because it's raining and there's not really anything else to do except stay in the car and go ahead and go live. And to those of you who asked whether we live in the car, we don't live in the car. We live in an RV that we travel in along with the car. And the car is kind of like, I don't know, an external living room or something. We hang out in the car. The car gets a lot better mileage, so it's what we go get groceries and stuff for camp and whatnot.
So go ahead and hit that like button before we get started.
And we will be showing more of that sort of content too, of like where we are and when we camp out. And I mean, obviously we live in a camp type situation, but it's not always interesting. But sometimes maybe we'll have something cool to show you.
Maybe some campfires and stuff.
Campfires, or just locations, fishing, stuff like that. Anyway.
Went fishing yesterday, by the way. How about Jimmy Kimmel?
Okay, yeah, that's one of the things that actually it was a pretty divisive topic. The whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air. And I had said that I was taking that as a cautionary tale that our freedom of speech is being infringed upon, and the freedom of the press, even freedom of choice, freedom of expression, all that sort of thing, I felt was being infringed upon by silencing Jimmy Kimmel, because people that didn't like him or didn't like what he had to say could just turn the channel or turn him off, and it didn't need to be taken off the air. Choices being made for the rest of us.
If we lose our freedom of speech, we will not. That will probably be the end of YouTube, and you won't hear about little stories of Suzanne. You wouldn't have heard about that.
And Rainbow Rambling says, do you ever hear anything about Barry Morphew using steroids? And yes, I did hear quite a bit about that. I don't know whether it's fact or not, but there were several different sources there in Chaffee County who were saying that he did use steroids, and I do know that he used to be a lot more imposing of a looking person. He seemed to be larger and definitely looked more aggressive. I mean, even when he wasn't doing anything, just standing there, he looked aggressive. And his coloring too, sometimes he was a lot redder than you would expect him to be in the situations. And people described arguments with him that, yeah, his behaviors do indicate roid rage. And, that is definitely something that I think played into the whole,
that would
essence of Barry.
explain him in his treatment of Suzanne if he was
in his treatment of
roiding
Suzanne
out.
before he ended up taking her life. Just the different crazy ass things he did, like sneaking around the woods outside of the house, sneaking up on the house while she and her female friend were hanging out in the house, and they were terrified because they thought there was a prowler out there. And then eventually Barry made himself known. The women had already called 911, terrified about somebody sneaking around the house. And then Barry's story was, ha ha ha, it was so funny. I was dirty and smelly because I'd been out hunting and I didn't want the women to see me like that. And so I was just trying to sneak in so I could take a shower before they saw me.
That's a commonplace statement too. I remember hearing that.
Yeah, he was just but if you think about it, that doesn't make any sense at all. That's just, that was terrifying to those women. And he, if he had half a brain or one bit of empathy, ought to have been able to put himself in their shoes and know that it would be terrifying to them if he was sneaking around like that. And yeah, his suicide threats are also common, especially to someone that uses steroids. But it's also common with certain types of personality disorders that use that as a way to try to control their partners. They'll say, oh well, then I'm just gonna kill myself then, because Suzanne, if she voiced her opinion, didn't want to spend money on something, then he'd be like, well, I'm gonna jump out of the truck right now.
You better get jumping, Barry.
And yeah, and
you'd probably be better off if you would have jumped out of the truck that day.
Yeah, and he controlled people with his temper tantrums. People were afraid to set him off. That goes for men as well as women. And he was just this presence that was not.
He ended up scaring Tyson Draper there at the end.
Yeah. And
Deadly Queens.
Welcome. And our coverage of the Barry Morphew killing Suzanne, his wife, that case is very personal to us because we were out there, boots on the ground from the very beginning when it was first reported that this was a missing person case where a woman from Indiana supposedly had gone for a bicycle ride in the mountains here and not come back. And we thought she just got altitude sickness or something and was disoriented somewhere. So we went out to find her. And when we got out there, we've been on many different search and rescue things before. And we were shocked because there was no staging area. There was no, info officer. There was nothing like that going on. So that was really weird.
If you look at our older videos, you'll see we were driving around.
Yeah, we were driving around and feeling this was a very strange turn of events. We had never seen anything like this before, where there was just not anyone really out there looking. And I think we may have only seen one officer when
Just
we were out
one
there.
police car, yeah.
And they didn't even bother to speak to us. We thought sure maybe they would flag us over and say, hey, who are you? Why are
Exactly.
you here? Or something like that.
We fully
But
expected that.
we fully expected that, and that didn't occur either. And you know, it just was really strange. And then we went back over our footage because we left the area but didn't go real far. But we had left the area and we were going over our footage when we then heard that the bicycle had been found off the county road, and you know that it was just right there at the beginning of the roadway that leads to their driveway. And we were like, what? And we looked at our footage, and then we noticed that we could see caution tape in our original video. And so then we were like, huh. So then we went back there and looked at the site, and then we also like to ride bicycles out in the wilderness and stuff, and so we know a thing or two about that. And we were able to quickly determine that there was no way for the bicycle to have ended up in the location where it ended up. You know, if it was just like somebody routinely riding their bicycle, there was no way for that to happen. And it became apparent that the only way for that bicycle to end up where it ended up was if somebody tossed it over the edge.
We have a picture of that in one of our more recent videos. We used Tyson Draper's picture, and we put that up, and it really documents where the bicycle was found and the curve in the road. And it's a very large road. We'll see.
Yeah, and the whole bicycle story didn't make sense. And we realized too that if somebody had crashed there because of foul play, like if somebody had actually been riding there and somebody purposely clipped them and knocked them off the road, the bicycle would have been damaged, and so would the human, and there would have been signs of that in the vegetation, and there was not. And then, well, we were already very much doubting the whole story at that point. Then we, of course, were getting the rumors around town because, you know, we kept our ears to the ground and hung out in like the local parks and along the river and, you know, the grocery stores and whatever, listening to local chatter, striking up conversations with down-to-earth people, and just learning a few things, and realizing that the stories weren't adding up either. And then Barry Morphew went and made this like 20-something second video, which was supposed to be something to bring awareness to Suzanne being missing and asking for her return or information. But part of the time he's like, whoever has you. Another time it's Suzanne, if you're hearing this. And I mean, it was just a whole bunch of different garbled up thoughts all in the same 20 seconds. And offering a reward for her safe return. And
I don't think he would have disposed of anything out there at the local gas station and the pizza joint.
Or he may have, like, briefly deposited something there, the place where he was asking about, you know, where he said that his wife was missing, and then when they wanted a description, he said a baby blue bike helmet and biking clothes. And it's like, that's not the woman, but apparently that's what he's looking for. And if that's what he was looking for, they caught him peeping in that dumpster, and I'm wondering whether maybe he had put something in there to be found and then thought better of it and thought that he wanted something to be staged someplace else. And yeah, the Oh Suzanne video is the one we were talking about, the few second video.
And in case you're wondering, Barry Morphew is out of jail today. He did post.
Yesterday he was freed on bail, and so he's somewhere in Alamosa County. I have not begun my research yet. I will bring you answers as soon as I get them as to what his living situation
If
is.
you find him, snap a picture, send it to us. We'll put him out there.
And yes, Barry told everyone where he had searched and claimed that he was out places searching. And I'm telling you right now, in all the times that we were out there searching, I think we might have seen him once, but he didn't appear to be searching. He was just kind of like hanging out, relaxing in his truck, uh, playing with his feet. He was sitting in the driver's side, and I don't know, maybe he was changing his socks actually, but I just called it, oh, he's sitting there playing with his feet. Um, and
At the time, we should have recorded that.
yeah, we should have recorded that too, but I was kind of.
But it was poor Barry. His wife was missing. We never thought that at that time.
I thought he could have. Oh, thank you so much. Anyway, we didn't record him at the very beginning because we kept thinking, well, maybe we've just watched too much true crime and stuff. Maybe our suspicions about this guy, maybe we're just reading him wrong or whatever. Maybe it's because he's the jock type and stuff, the high school bully type that everybody's had one of those in their life where they did not like this jock guy, and they're like, so we were like, well, maybe we're just projecting onto him. Maybe he's not really. Maybe he's actually a victim.
Maybe
so
he
we're
was.
we're not gonna video him at this point. But eventually, it got to the point where we were like, yeah, our original suspicions are spot on. This guy doesn't make any sense whatsoever. For example, when even before the preliminary, but after the preliminary, there was no doubt that this dude was the dude.
Barry, you can jump in here too. Barry, you can jump in here and into the comment section here, Barry. Go ahead, jump in there and say something.
He's done it before, guys. That's why we're saying that.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, we haven't seen him in a while, and he doesn't like us.
No, Bear's quite upset with us, especially Tyson Draper. Though I pity old you, Tyson. He's going to get a hold of you.
Yeah, Barry doesn't like Tyson either. Tyson Draper got that interview with Barry, and I think that at the beginning Tyson was actually believing also like we had that this was possibly a grieving guy who had lost the love of his life. But then you could just tell
there was no emotion
partway through that conversation that Tyson was just like, whoa, and he's realizing this guy did something to his wife.
Barry, if you're
Tyson's and Tyson stayed professional through to the end, but after he walked away from Barry, he even spoke to the camera letting us know that he got a really bad feeling. He was really suspicious of Barry, and that Barry had threatened him, and you can actually hear in his original recording that Barry threatens him. And that
we may have posted that. Actually,
I think at one time we did.
If you're
have
missing your wife and she disappeared while you were at work, dude, you'd be heartbroken. You'd have tears.
Yeah, and you wouldn't just be mad or, oh, I think a mountain lion must have eaten her. And this was, the Tyson interview was like almost maybe it was a little more than a month after Suzanne had been reported missing. So there had already been the initial contact with police. There had already been his initial stories that were like, we got to see them on body cam where they were falling flat, where he tried to get a police officer involved in his mountain lion theory, and he's like, what, a lion? Was a lion?
Yeah.
And the cop, totally assumed he must have been asking if the bike was lying on the ground or something. So he's like, oh yeah, it was just lying over there. And then Barry's like, no, a lion.
Tyson, you can come on here.
The cop's like nervous, going, oh.
Tyson, you can jump in the comment section here.
Yeah, we've had contact with Ty before via email. Nice guy. Anyhow,
he's not running his channel anymore. That's why I thought he might want to have something.
Well, he might not be able to though, because Tyson is one of the witnesses that are named for Barry's trial, and I believe they're going to have him do a setup for let the jury know what was going on in the moments before and after the video that aired where he interviewed Barry. And also they're probably going to ask him how he felt and let him testify to that after airing the video to the jury. That's what I think is going to happen as far as that's concerned. And it just was like you all mentioned, red flag after red flag regarding Barry. And then being locals and knowing a thing or two, we were immediately suspicious when, well, first the story was that he was in Denver. Then it was that he went to Denver for the firefighters photo shoot, except for it was public knowledge that the photo shoot had been canceled due to COVID and stuff. And then other people were saying, oh, well, he went there to work, for his landscaping stuff. And
I see that my mods are doing a good job. Thank you, guys.
And
hi to everyone, please. Don't even give them a second chance. Thank you, cats.
That's funny. It's Paul the alien. Anyhow, then even before the preliminary, we got
my
the story.
hair.
Hubby's hair.
Gay.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, and those of you who didn't see the comments, it was almost funny, but it was offensive and not something that the audience would really want to be reading. And so,
Journey to get there. Did you change your name?
Or are you a different journey? Anyhow, I'm having a brain fart. Let me try to remember. Yeah, even before the preliminary, we got to know that Barry had claimed that he had gone to Broomfield on Mother's Day to set up the job and to do some work. And we knew that there wasn't construction work allowed. I think it might be a noise ordinance thing or something. I don't know exactly, but it's not allowed on a Sunday. So we're like, And then also just the pure fact that this was Mother's Day and she's supposedly the love of his life and, and they're this perfect family with their 2 kids and all that. You're still Journey to Justice. Okay. Cool.
I thought so.
Anyway, yeah, same picture. So anyway, we found that to be interesting. So then I went and got in touch with the permits office and stuff and was asking whether or not he had gotten a permit to work that day or even that week. And he had not filed a permit or anything. And so that was really suspicious.
Yes, but he got up on Mother's Day and came up with this whole story. I left my wife behind on Mother's Day morning.
Because it's not Husband's Day.
And
when,
and I'm not going to make her any special breakfast or anything. What a butthole.
And there's the fact that the family did have quite a social media presence. And so there was photographic evidence that every Mother's Day before that had been a big deal and celebrated with Barry, the kids, Suzanne, Barry's mom, etc. Mother's Day was a big deal. So, his story of it not being a big deal was off. And then so was his story about whether or not he had even seen her that morning. He may have kissed her on the cheek. He might have seen her in the bed. Maybe she was just a lump in the bed. Maybe he only heard her snoring. It just...
And what about that dart cap that they found inside the dryer, stuck in one of the little holes?
Yeah, that makes me wonder whether...
That's kind of sus, How long has it been stuck in the dryer?
And Barry's little shorts were there too. So it could have come out of his little shorts.
His little shorts.
Yeah, shorts.
Wow.
But it just, the dark cap, may or may not have anything to do with the crime against Suzanne. I'm not sure how he injected her with the BAM, whether
but
he stabbed her or if he put it in her.
If he says he hadn't have been using any of that BAM stuff, then why the heck was there still, after all the time that supposedly could have passed?
Oh, remember? He said that he had been using it. He said he brought it here from Indiana when they moved here, and that he had been using it here to tranquilize deer here in the wild near his house, and that he was darting them and he was sawing off their antlers. And it's like, none of that makes any sense.
Yeah,
bro, and that's all a crime, and so he's admitting to this crime, and I don't know why he hasn't been charged with a crime regarding that admission, unless, of course, they believe that there is no way to back up that that's what he did with BAM or anything.
He can say that, but they've got to have evidence that he was tranquilizing these deer and then sawing their horns off.
And then conveniently, he tells the law enforcement that he must have disposed of his leftover BAM that Sunday, that he had decided to clean out his truck, and that he had been cleaning out the garage. All this cleaning, guys. Did you see what the garage and his truck looked like?
Was very.
And that's supposed to be
on Mother's Day.
Anyway, he said he cleaned off the workbench and stuff, and that's where the BAM was, and that must be some of the stuff that he threw away in Denver, because at first he denied that he was throwing stuff away there, but then he got told, you were seen on camera in these locations throwing stuff away. What were you throwing away? Was that on
Mother's Day when he threw away all that stuff?
Yeah, that was Mother's Day, where he left early to get to this job site. Of course, he checked into the room. He checked into it early because check-in isn't until later, but he checked in early. And then he says the reason why he went there early was so he could sneak in the back door and try to get a free breakfast. And then...
That seems like a very...
why didn't he bring Suzanne to sneak in and get free breakfast if that's his deal? Yeah, I'm teasing there. But, so all these dump runs, the ones that were documented in the preliminary, we went to each one of those sites and we're looking at where the cameras were and whether or not they were visible to the person dumping things, like trying to figure out, do you suppose Barry dumped something here as like a red herring? He wanted cops to look here, look here, not, wherever the actual evidence is. Or whether he actually was getting rid of evidence related to the crime and thought he was getting away with it.
Just make some fresh content, put your face in it, and that'll help you with your issues with YouTube.
Oh, yeah, with the reused content.
Yeah, you got to use your face so that
and you have to alter it in some way, shape, or form. Like, for instance, you be commenting on it, or you add extra audio, or you put extra like words on the screen.
Face is the easiest.
Or, putting your face in there is the easiest alteration, though. And you just do that in order to make it be new content.
We are live. How are you?
So they're gonna be having a couple other people.
We had some people walk up to the car for the and hubby is putting a note up on the door letting them know that we're live, and so now they're gonna go away and we'll talk to them later. But that's one of the reasons why some people have asked, why do you go live at night? Why are you always in the dark? Well, people we socialize with, don't usually come wandering up and talk to us at night, but during the day, free game. They see us in here hanging out, and then they come and join us. Um, so
What were we talking about? I have a story. If we're done talking about Barrymore, if you. Hey, what about Trey Reed, man? Trey Reed, the college guy.
Okay, back to now he is changing our topic over to Trey Reed, the 21-year-old black university student in Mississippi who was found hanging from a tree on campus. It's been reported as being a lynching, but apparently the campus police have ruled it a self-inflicted lynching, and now we found out that.
So they're going to get an independent medical evaluation now.
Yeah, and Colin Kaepernick, the former professional football player, has stated that he will pay for an independent autopsy and investigation into the death of this young man, and so we should be able to get real information on that. Because some people say that he had other injuries, some people say he didn't have any other injuries. The university was not forthcoming to the family because this particular student had put down the names of 2 people as his emergency contacts, and the university is calling those people next of kin, even though they're not related. And I think they're mincing words or whatever, because I think that it was just specifically emergency contact, and they just didn't do their due diligence of getting a hold of this young man's family. And then they also had miscommunication with law enforcement, because of course they did report this to law enforcement, and then law enforcement contacted this young man's grandfather, giving him the information that the young man had been found in his dorm room deceased, and that it was by his own hand, not that it was being investigated as a possible or anything like that. It was given to him as a definitive, this is what happened. And then he hears later, no, this is an ongoing investigation, and he was found hanging from a tree out on the campus. And then, just so much stuff coming out on that, to where I think that an independent investigation and autopsy was very much warranted, and it's really, really nice of Colin Kaepernick to fund that.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Leanne. I'm glad you finally made it into a live.
And then I see that he has written on there Charlie Kirk, so that and that kind of segue from the Trey Reed, because some people thought that the Trey Reed case seemed to be preempting what was going on in the Charlie Kirk assassination case. And while some news stations may have been using it as such to try to steer steer the news or information away from that topic, because of some people being overly sensitive to what time is it here? It's still daylight.
I don't know. It's like 4 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
I don't have a.
And they found the person inside the memorial for Charlie Kirk. They found him inside there with a gun and a fake badge. And he was pretending
Charlie
to be
Kirk's,
a cop.
His memorial service is going to be at the Cardinal. I'm not a big sports baller person. Stadium in Arizona was where his memorial service is going to be held, and President Trump is set to speak there as well. And so today, the day before the service, while the security was being set up and stuff, they discovered a man in there, an armed man with he had a gun and he had a knife, and he had fake identification identifying himself as a police officer, although some people say that he was a retired police officer. But anyway, he is not with any police service that is affiliated with the security for this venue. And so he was arrested today, and and thank goodness for that, because he may have been planning to do something bad at the memorial service.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk bringing it. How about Charlie Kirk's wife now? Saw her this morning.
And Charlie Kirk's wife, I've seen some people being very distasteful, saying, "Oh, the wife and kids are better off," blah blah blah. Well, you know what? I don't agree with a lot of what Charlie Kirk had to say, but I also do not agree with attacking the family, saying the family's better off or anything like that. The family are devastated, and this is a horrific thing to have happened. His wife is being very strong and is pledging to keep his organization. I forget what it's called, because I never even really knew much about Charlie Kirk until after he was gone. But anyway, she's now the CEO in his place, and she's pledging to make sure that his legacy is never forgotten, and she's going to continue his works, whatever that may be, because like I said, I'm not a big follower of that. And
I wonder if
some
she'll
people
pick up where he left off,
because some of this stuff has been very political. Some people have been labeling me as different politics and stuff like that, and quite honestly, I'm basically apolitical, because I think that it doesn't matter Democrat or Republican. There are some rotten people out there, and that are out there for money, and that's it. Their big goal is the money, and they don't care about the people, the regular people. And so I'm neither one, or maybe I'm in the middle or whatever. And when I do vote, I vote my conscience, not down any party line or anything like that. Not that it really is anyone's business, but I just thought I'd put that out there. So we got that about the Charlie Kirk, and
we didn't really ever touch on that one.
Okay, and Jimmy Kimmel and Donald Trump. That was another thing that some people were saying, "Oh no, this isn't anything to do with freedom of expression or anything like that, or violations of constitutional rights for the media or anything like that." And what I said about Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled is, I've always enjoyed his show. I enjoy his type of humor. You don't watch Jimmy Kimmel expecting him to say good things about the Republicans or anything like that. You know what to expect. You know that that's the kind of thing that he's going to say. And while some of what he said about Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk's assassin may have been in poor taste, it was his opinion. It was an opinion piece. It wasn't like he was reporting news. You don't go to Jimmy Kimmel for the news. You go to him for his take on the news and his humor and stuff like that. Anyhow, so he got his show yanked from the air, and to me that was silencing him, which would be infringing on freedom of speech. And also,
they said if he made a big enough donation that he could get his show back.
Yeah, he was it's public knowledge that Jimmy Kimmel was told that if he made a public apology and made a donation to Charlie Kirk's foundation, that he might get his show back. And so that's a money thing.
Don't do it, Jimmy.
And his show might have been winding down anyway.
I go to Jimmy for the news.
So
he has a good take on the news, honestly.
Yeah, I watch Jon Stewart for the news and stuff like that too. It's just, and Jim Brewer, comedians. to me, it's a lot better for me to get my information through these comedians who have the ability to laugh at situations, and then you can fact check them afterwards. But it just, isn't such a big blow when the news hits you about anything. Anyhow, the reason why Jimmy Kimmel's show was pulled, they used the excuse of what he had to say in his monologue regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination and his ongoing things that he has to say about Donald Trump. And obviously Donald Trump doesn't like Jimmy and wants his show to be off the air.
I'm sure Donald Trump is very happy now that Jimmy's gone.
And yes, Donald Trump has announced that he's glad that Jimmy Kimmel's gone, and that then he named 2 other talk shows that he would like to see removed. And when this whole thing was going on, the FCC did threaten to do sanctions against Jimmy Kimmel and against the syndication and the stuff that the various media companies that own the show and stuff
Sinclair,
like that, including Disney and the corporation at the very top seems to be this Sinclair Corporation, and they are trying to gain favor with Donald Trump and with the FCC due to the fact that they are trying to work on a merger. They want to buy out another media company, which right now the Sinclair's media branch has 30% of the broadcast market. But if they're allowed to purchase this other syndicate, then they will have 80% of the market in the United States. And they want this deal to go through. And in order to make this deal go through, they likely wanted to please the FCC and please Donald Trump. So when they heard about this Jimmy Kimmel thing, they pulled him, gave him the axe, and that's more of big money talking, and how big money people are kind of out of touch with us not big money people who maybe need the Jimmy Kimmels in the world to just make our place a little bit brighter, something to look forward to, watch it and stuff like that. Anyway, so that was our investigation into what was going on with and thank you,
Leanne
Forsberg.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And
thank you.
And so that's what went on with the Jimmy Kimmel thing. And
then we're gonna have another Europe story coming from.
Yeah, but segueing into that before you talk about that, and I will let you talk about that.
Talk about it. You're the better talker.
But you're the one that found it. Anyway, the next thing is that Donald Trump was doing business in the UK, and my son talked about that a little bit because of the whole oh no, I forgot the guy's name. Epstein.
Yeah, Epstein.
My son went on last night and was talking quite a bit about that, and about the ties to royalty and all that over there. But anyhow,
break time.
Donald Trump was.
Take a drink.
Okay, I'll take a drink. And why? What are you?
People don't like to watch you drink. There you go. We got in trouble for that the other day.
Dry mouth.
They said you guys are eating and drinking on camera.
Yeah.
And somebody was upset.
So anyway, Donald Trump was interviewed about the Charlie Kirk thing and about and the upcoming memorial, and about Jimmy Kimmel and whatnot. And Donald Trump said yes, they're mourning and stuff. And then he segued into the I think it's 500 million that he's spending on refurbishing the ballroom at the White House, and then me liking my rock music and stuff.
Well,
I just start singing, "Oh, he likes big balls. His balls are always bouncing to the left and to the right." So
that's when
anyway.
they asked him how he felt about Charlie Kirk's untimely passing. He goes, "Well, we're gonna
build this $500 million ballroom."
He's taking it really well.
Brandon's in there now.
Brandon, thank
And
you for showing
earlier, I know somebody asked if we knew where Barry is right now, and I don't know where he is right now. And I'm, giving a shout out, saying anybody that knows where he is, let us know, please. If anybody has a sighting of Barry, if he's in a public place or someplace seen from public, you can take a picture of him.
Please do.
Just
take his picture.
And let's go bear hunting.
Bear
But not in
hunting.
violence.
You probably don't
Pictures.
want to get too close to him anyways. But he's got to have people taking pictures of him all day long. He's got to be used to that by now.
Yeah.
You would think.
So, don't know where he is right now, but he has to be, yes, Journey, he has to be in Alamosa County. That was the terms of,
unless he gets a job.
Unless he's given a job and it's approved by the court, then he can leave the county for work, or if his legal team wants to meet him out of the county, he can go meet his legal team out of the county, or if he gets medical care out of the county, he can leave the county for medical care.
I wonder how
But for
long
any of that,
would he stay out of town for his job?
and yeah, he can't have his pew-pews, so no hunting for him. All the chipmunks are rejoicing, and
Barry
Barry has a GPS tracker on his leg, and this time it is functioning. They made sure it's functioning before he was released, and his next court hearing is November 3rd, and on November 3rd we're having another status update, and at that time they may set the trial, or it might be put off again, because the defense is like totally dragging their feet and saying, "Oh no,
it's okay, we'll change the subject.
We're getting too much information." And Brandon, we are talking about, at this point right now, because I do jump around, we are talking about Barry Lee Morphew. He is this type A personality, former jock, peaked in high school guy who totally ruled the roost, used the Bible to keep his wife and daughters in line. And then one day, he, Mother's Day 2020, reported that only he didn't report. Mother's Day 2020, Suzanne, his wife of more than 20 years, was reported missing. Barry had left early in the morning on Mother's Day, said that he may or may not have seen his wife before he left, and he went to go to work on a Sunday in a town that does not allow any construction work on a Sunday, and also he had no permits to work there,
basically,
that week even. And
it's almost 200 miles away as well.
Yeah, and it's like 200 miles from his house. And
distance.
Also this job that he went to on that Mother's Day, he claims it was planned a long time in advance, but his subcontractors that work for him say that it was just planned like that weekend, that they had no notice. And then he said, "Hey, meet me there on Sunday." On Saturday, he had told his number one contractor that he would pick her up on Sunday, and they would drive up there together Sunday evening. But then he called her Sunday morning and said, "Hey, I'm up here, and you need to get your own ass up here and get here tonight and grab another contractor." And that other contractor stated that he immediately,
Was
got a
that
bad feel. That was Jeff
Puckett?
Puckett. And he got a bad feeling. He felt like the whole thing felt like Barry was setting up some kind of alibi or something, and he didn't want to be a fall guy, so he right away was talking about all the details of arriving at the room that Barry had rented and seeing that Barry had laid in the bed. Barry had showered. It turned out he showered multiple times, and Barry had left papers, including insurance papers and stuff, in the trash can in the hotel room, and that the hotel room had a really strong smell of pool chemicals. It is right above the pool, so, and Barry has stayed in that room before, so he was aware of the pool. Um,
Hmm.
so he was aware that that room did smell like it, and so I think that he used more pool chemicals to clean up evidence that he brought to that room. Knowing that it already smelled like pool chemicals, so it was super strongly of pool chemicals when Jeff went into that room. And among things that got cleaned in there were a pair of boots. Barry was seen carrying the boots into the room, and he was seen carrying bags of stuff back out of the room. He then went around town dumping garbage in various locations. He claims that those boots were old and that he took them to the room so that he could take the shoelaces out of them, because he said he recycled the shoelaces, but maybe he took the shoelaces out because he couldn't get blood or whatever
What happened to those boots?
out of those boots. And anyway, then he said he threw the boots away. Yes, Brandon, his wife was offed. She was killed.
YouTube held
And,
that comment. It found it
she
unsafe.
she was killed. It was 3 years after she'd been reported missing that her remains were found in a shallow grave in a neighboring county, and inside the bones of Suzanne was a chemical known as BAM, which is actually the first initial of 3 different chemicals that are used as an animal tranquilizer. That Barry had owned BAM because he had had a deer farm in Indiana, and it turns out that the BAM in her bones is BAM from the batch that he had in 2017. Of course, other people that had also bought BAM in 2017 could have had that, but Barry was the only one in Colorado that had that BAM at the time of Suzanne's demise. And while the BAM was not the number one,
I understand, Brendan.
yeah, and the BAM was not the number one cause of her death, so her death was has been ruled a homicide in the presence of BAM, because the BAM was in the marrow. That means it metabolized. It means she was subdued with the BAM for who knows how long, until she was until her life was taken, and prosecutors believe that she was likely suffocated.
And she was still awake.
Yeah,
apparently.
and under the influence of BAM, she would have still been conscious. She would have still been able to see and hear, but she would not have been able to speak or move. She would have been aware that her life was being taken. And as Journey says too, everyone else who had that batch of BAM has that BAM accounted for. They have documentation of what happened to that BAM, or they still have that BAM. It's all accounted for except Barry's BAM. And when he was asked about his BAM, he claimed to investigators that it was that weekend that he cleaned his garage, and that the BAM had been in his garage, and that he had disposed of it that Sunday when he took it to and yeah, a lot of people use the word unalive, and YouTube doesn't flag that at all. So anyway, it's pretty obvious that Barry took the life of his wife, and
In your opinion.
in my opinion, and that, within 10 days of her being reported missing, Barry had already gone back to Indiana with his oldest daughter and filed for guardianship over Suzanne so that he could make all legal decisions and sell property in her name. And he also drove her vehicle back to Indiana and sold it.
But
that within the first 2 weeks of her being missing.
he sold that way too quick.
Yeah, he sold her vehicle.
If he thought she could come back, if she's played Gone Girl, why would he sell her truck that quick?
Yeah,
Just,
and
should have waited on that one.
and why was he giving away her clothes and giving away her jewelry and everything before she was even gone a month? And he the first week that she had been reported missing, he spoke to Suzanne's father on the phone and told him, past tense, "I loved your daughter."
Do you really think that means anything? That he dropped that "I loved her" in the past tense?
It does mean a lot. People slip up all the time. Most times when someone has a loved one who has gone missing, and they don't know what's happened to this person,
Drinky.
they will state, let me hide back here.
People get all weird. They say, "You can't drink on camera." That bothers me. They say that bothers me, some people say. But
Anyway, mostly, when they're asked about somebody or when they talk about somebody, they will say, "I love them," not "loved." They will say, "This person is always smiling," is a ray of light, not "this person was always smiling," was a ray of light. And like going back to another back in the past case, the case of Orrin and Orson West, the little boys that were illegally adopted and murdered by Trezell and Jacqueline West. Trezell from the start said they were rambunctious.
that Trezell guy, you guys remember him? What a nugget head. Yeah, this comment got flagged because of the adult word. Oops, where'd it go? Anyways, so YouTube likes to keep it on a 6th grade level. They don't want anything.
Oh, they don't even want to talk about her being naked? We're not allowed to say she was naked?
Apparently not. YouTube did that automatically. So that's why it's not on there.
So anyway, yeah, Barry said that she was snoring and naked under the covers the last time he had seen her. He also claims that the last night they were together, that he made love to her all night long.
Oh,
and
stud.
That makes me sick to my stomach, because I know that the last time that he was with Suzanne alone, she was under the influence of BAM and could not move and could not resist and could not do anything, and just would have been completely at his mercy. And so I sure as hell hope that he did not do that to her. But he may have, since he said last time he saw her she was naked, and since when her remains were found, obviously they had been moved from another location, and her remains were found, and the clothes found with them, she had not been wearing them, and there was no decomposition on the clothing, so it was not clothing that she was deceased in. And yeah, and so we all get very worked up about this and wanting justice for Suzanne. And Barry is smug, and he thinks he is above the law, and he makes a big show of everything. And I am so looking forward to him going on trial and being convicted and going away for the rest of his life.
Those two little kids, Orrin and Orson, and their evil step parents, their evil step parents got put
Adopted
away,
parents.
and they never did locate the little ones.
Yeah, that makes me sick too. That Orrin and Orson, also known as Sincere and Classic Pettis, that's who they were before they were illegally adopted by the Wests. Anyway, their remains have never been found. Trezell and Jacqueline have not spoken up, have not admitted what happened to them or where they can be found, and their biological
Brandon.
families are still devastated.
Yeah, evil.
And
Thanks for checking in, Brandon.
yeah, so we got you all caught up now, Brandon. You know all about the Morphew case. And
Hey, do you remember that Harry Potter kid, Vincent Waylett? So known the little fat kid, Krabs. Anyways.
Yeah, the guy. Now we're talking about the guy that played Vincent Krabs in the first several.
See, Crab Goyle, Crab and Goyle.
Yeah, Crab and Goyle, but he was Crab.
Yeah. He got tired of being.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Harry Potter
Pitter patter.
the Harry Potter series of movies. We are huge fans of the movies, the books, the whole deal, and we have the whole book series and the whole video series. Anyway, it was obvious that at the end in the last movies, I forget if it's the last two or the last three.
I believe it was 2 movies.
That Crab was played by a different character.
No, see,
by a different actor. Crab was replaced.
He was phased out.
Yeah, he was replaced. The Crab character still existed and still happened, but it was a very different person who was playing Crab in those last movies.
Well,
and in the scene where Crab is killed in the room of requirement, it's a different actor being Crab.
So he ended up wanting to be a bad boy, started rapping, started growing cannabis, and he got busted. And he ended up eventually going to prison for 2 years. He went to the riots in, what was it, London?
The London riots. And because he was trying to be a rap star and a bad boy and all that, I mean, he's a story of another child actor gone wrong. So he was holding a Molotov cocktail and running around with it. And of course, when police were seeing the footage, they were going, "Hey, isn't that?"
And you know how he got busted for growing that cannabis? He was driving in a car. A police car passed him. He took a picture. The police thought it was suspicious, pulled him over, looked inside of his phone, saw a bunch of growing operations, and got the warrant, went to his house, found whole rooms full of this.
Yeah, and
anyways, he got off with a slap on the wrist for that. He said it was too traumatic playing a little childhood 17-year-old kid.
Yeah, problems with a child actor.
Can't cope.
So then, he just continued to make bad decisions.
And then the riot.
Yeah, and then there was the London riot, and then it was all in for him.
It was all in that time, guys.
And
he went to prison 2 years for his participation in that riot. They were looting. He went in there and started taking alcohol bottles or whatever it was. Then someone handed him a freaking bottle. Yeah. So if you're a child actor, don't go to riots.
Apparently cannabis is highly illegal in England. So that would explain why he got in so much trouble.
And then
I often forget that there are different laws regarding cannabis in different places. We live in Colorado, which is a legal state, legal grow state, and people can have a certain number of plants in their own homes.
The billion-dollar industry known as Harry Potter wizard story, they didn't want a bad boy like that. So He was terminated, sitting in prison now.
Yep.
So,
And
that's our light story of the day.
yep. Where are they now? I don't know where he is now.
I'm not sure.
Hopefully he got his life together after he did his time.
Didn't really seem like he was doing anything too awful though. But if you're a child actor making child movies, can't be growing cannabis.
And so yeah, shout out to anybody that's in Alamosa County. We're not over there right now. We probably will take a gander later on.
Go over there tomorrow.
But we would love to, get a heads up as to where Barry sightings might take place. He's not supposed to leave the county. He's not supposed to leave that house unless he has business to attend to. My guess is that he is going to get somebody to offer him some sort of employment so that he's able to bend the rules and leave the house, leave the county, etc. But we'll see.
Thanks for checking in, everybody. And what do you guys want to talk about now? We'll go with a crowdsourced here. You guys, let us know. Let us know what you want to talk about. If any request, go check it out. Might go live later.
Yeah, because we'll probably go live later tonight. We can go do some errands and stuff first, and then go live. The rain let up, and so we're actually going to be able to get outside of the car for a while.
Local pizza place.
Oh, watch him get a job at Moonlight Pizza, right?
I don't think they'd hire him. Maybe at the spa store. Maybe.
The Salida Stove and Spa.
Yeah, that's quite a ways from where he's staying, though.
You'd be able to.
I bet he tries to get a job in Broomfield or something so he can be gone like 18 hours a day.
Yeah, get a sweet deal like Epstein had, where he got to leave the. Yeah. Are we having Moonlight Pizza for dinner, people? I'm not close enough to Moonlight Pizza to be able to have that today.
We made some Barry animated videos where he was working and eating pizza over there. You guys get a chance, go check that out. That's pretty fun.
And funnily enough, during the first preliminary hearing a few years back, he had takeout Moonlight Pizza one of the days in court.
And Taco Bell. They brought him Taco Bell in court. You want to see some animated content on this channel? Some animated drawings.
Yeah, we're going to be doing more animation and stuff like that when winter rolls in, because it's going to be cold, and we're going to be probably...
it'll be dark and true crime.
Yeah, we'll probably be doing lives and videos from inside the RV instead of inside the car. The car is our way of getting from the
RV has a heater in its car. It does not.
A better heating system than the car does.
Sure.
More comfortable. And yeah, we are nomadics. Chicken and salad.
Yeah, maybe you could stay in Gunnison. That's quite a ways. That's on the other side of the mountain. He's like in the middle, and then Gunnison's all the way over, far away, on the other side of the state, on the western side of the state.
So I guess we're gonna wind down and see you guys again in a couple hours. We're gonna go get some supplies and let you know what we decided to make for dinner tonight, because right now we don't have a clue. We have to go see what's on sale and whatnot. And yeah, we'll do notifications.
Yeah, I always post in the community right before, maybe an hour before or 5 minutes before going live.
We'll try to give you guys adequate notification and everything. And
what do you guys want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, anybody have any special requests for tonight so we can do a little research too beforehand?
Make note. I'll write it down. Pizza.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Well, I think that's about it. So I don't know how to turn it off though.
I do. I know how to turn it off.
Hubby will turn it off in a moment. And
Moderators, thank you. Mods, if there's
yeah,
any
hit the
problem,
like everybody.
ban everybody, hide the user from the channel immediately, and don't even give them a
Yes,
second chance.
yes, our troll hunters, we really appreciate you. Talk about Chad Daybell. Okay, yeah, we'll do a little Chad Daybell.
It's been a
research
while since we've
before
heard about Chad Daybell.
So yeah, we'll do a little chit chat about him. My baby just wrote it down in his notebook, so now it's real. And no, we haven't chatted with Martin recently. We have gotten off of all social media and everything. Also part of our new life and downsizing and all that, you know, now that we live mobile, we are not
Oops. The stupid phone.
now that we had to downsize, we lost the teen from in Waukesha who killed his parents and wanted to. Oh, that guy.
What's
yeah.
his name? I don't know this story.
Yeah. I remember it. We'll talk about that Wisconsin teenager that did away with his parents and was going to have a go at Trump.
Post his name up here. Is that the guy with the taped on scope in the golf course?
No, that was an adult guy.
Oh. Okay.
We'll get it.
Waukesha. Is that what that is?
And see, letters from prison for Chad Daybell. Okay, we'll get a look at that stuff. And, you know, that'll be some of the stuff we talk about tonight. And
Well, Daybell stuff. We didn't do a lot of Daybell on this channel.
but we followed it. Just didn't hear it. So, yeah. Now I'm going to sit here like a dork while I wait for him
You ready, dear
to
wife?
turn it off. Yes, dear.
Are you ready to go get some food?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll go do the groceries.
Yeah. Good stuff. She always says me cook most of the time.
Yes, he's a better cook. Much better cook.
Good night. Are you sure you want to quit? Yes, I do.
Ah, that's how you do that.